Uh, Question is, are we going to finish the book? I don't know. I don't think modern times, we're going to have a hard time getting that far. Are you guys both signed up for the both sections? Okay, because we're going to work yeah, we're going to work as far as we can and call it Civ 1 and then come back after Christmas and call it Civ 2. Yes, it is. I didn't know if you want another book. We could add another book there. All right, we are starting our second day here with World Civilization. Once again, this can be located on YouTube. We're going to start by, I think we left off just getting into the Sumerian civilization. And if I can uh, have you look on page 7 of your textbook, there's a map 1-2, that says the ancient Near East. You guys see that big green area that says the Fertile Crescent? Okay, that's the area that we're going to be kind of talking about, namely the part where it says Sumer. That is the Sumerian civilization, uh, modern day Iraq, Kuwait is where that's located at. And this is really where we consider the cradle of civilization. Um, Researchers have even probably placed that's probably even closer to where if the uh, creation story in the Bible of Adam and Eve would probably have came from that area. I think more from uh, down in Bahrain, that area just a little bit farther south. But certainly in that area is where we consider it one of our oldest civilizations. And when you kind of look at that map, one of the things to realize is that there's not a whole lot of terrain factors of topography that keeps other people from moving in, um, conquering over groups in the area. And it is going to be one of those things that it causes a lot of, of strife will be going on in Sumeria. Some of the things to make sure to get down that Sumeria is plagued by warfare. There's just that constant warfare going, um, and a lot of it takes place between the different city states that are located in the area. City states are basically self contained uh, uh, civilizations. Now, several different city states held same uh, language, customs, traditions, but their location tended to pit them as rivals between different city states. Think of it in terms of our competition we have between, or rivalries that we have between schools. Certainly, if a bunch of Brashear kids decided to come over there to Knox, you guys would probably get a little bit upset, start walking the halls and rightfully taking it over and things like that. But vice versa, I'm sure we would have that same way. You think that would happen, Andrew? You don't think that would happen? Okay. But certainly during this time period, and as civilization grows, you got to realize that um, as people start gaining wealth and start gaining different property, other people that don't have that property are likely to covet and envy it, and try to steal it from people. We see wars taking place during this time period, just constantly um, uh, happening there. Uh, so and really, as this war or this sense of warfare takes place and continues in Sumeria, you see this um, uh, emergence of strong leaders develop. And one of the things that we see within early Sumerian government is that their leaders tend to be viewed almost as gods. They had a theocracy um, form of government, and a theocracy is where rulers are seen to either be agents of the gods or gods themselves. They they derive their power from the gods, and so there's a lot of sense that the people owe them their allegiance because the gods have put them in power. And certainly, Sumerians were polytheistic. They believed in many gods, and a lot of their sense of development of gods was a way of explaining natural occurrences, why things happened, whether it was a poor harvest or a natural disaster such as a flood or an earthquake. Certainly, they must have done something to upset the gods to make them do those things to them and cause them to um, suffer the way that they did. Now, within um, these Mesopotamian societies, there's some things to know about them. One of the things to know about them is that besides agriculture, commerce and industry were very important to them. So when we say commerce, what are we talking about? Trade. Yeah. Very good, Patrick. Commerce is trade, and so and we kind of talked about it yesterday. Once you have your basic needs met, that enough food and domestic animals are there to provide for your survival needs, people can then concentrate on other talents that they have, and I'm sure as weaving became a a more intrinsic art, and you could get cheaper cloth. I'm sure you had people saying, "I want my cloth in a different color," and once somebody could figure out different colors to have, uh, people started really wanting that, or um, you know, even that contact with the Far East, if you could have silk brought in, where silk even softer than anything else that could be manufactured, certainly it's going to command a high price. Whether you're trading for salt or somebody making pots or baskets, trade and commerce is very important. We also see that within Mesopotamian society, slave ownership was quite common. Different social groups held slaves from the poor to the higher classes, uh, owned slaves. Certainly, with constant warfare between different city states, the supply of slaves was always there. Now, one thing that you got to realize about slavery is that you can't think of it in terms of the American slavery, where you've got a totally different race here. These are like kind of people that people are in servitude and bound to one another. Um, Other things that we see is that within Mesopotamian society is that the economy really gets divided into both public and private sectors, where there is private ownership of goods, but you also have a public sector where people are required so many days of working on roads and public buildings. Certainly, if you want to please the gods, you have to provide your days of service in order to better uh, build a better society that's going to honor them. And if you don't, you're going to see some certainly some problems coming from that. I think we've already talked about city states, which is their basic unit of civilization. And city states, once again, is that the area of the city and its surrounding area. Most city states in this area have a fairly high wall that, once again, part of that public sector that people were required to help build. And you got to realize that at the time, there's not, if you got a high enough wall, people are not going to be able to get over it. They don't have battering rams or tanks or whatever to try to breach the walls. And so it was an effective way of keeping people out. Unfortunately, if you grew your crops outside of the city walls, a long siege could eventually drive people into starvation if they couldn't get resupplied in some other way. Which one, Andrew? Roy? Oh, do I have other students here too? Oh, Shelby over here. Oh, so that they can just type it and give it to you? Maybe Shelby will do that for you. Probably not. You did. Oh, okay. Maybe. Yeah. Maybe if you guys pay her enough, she'll be able to get her a laptop. Well, she takes really good notes. You could probably read her notes. Well, yeah, she types them when she goes home. You could probably see. Maybe you could just, seeing how you're wanting them really bad, you could just make the drive over to get them picked up. Oh, okay. Mail her a check there. All right. Let's see. Um, One of the things to remember about Mesopotamians during this time period is that they generally had a pessimistic outlook um, on life. There was always kind of that emphasis on satisfying their angry gods because it was the gods that were causing floods or causing their hardships, causing war. And when I say pessimistic, what are we talking about? Negative. Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah, they were the glasses half empty type people, and but is that what you said? Glasses half empty. But okay, but did you realize that all glasses are actually full? They're half full of air and half full of water, so they're actually full glasses. So that's a what? A realist view. Okay. The one on the right, that's Dakota. Yeah, that's Dakota Williams. He's a junior. So once you two graduate, we'll have Royce and Dakota probably left. So. Oh, okay. Okay. So we'll have a few. All right. Sumerian economy. Um, we've kind of talked about this a little bit, but keep in mind it was primarily agriculture with industry and commerce. Um, but we also start to see the reliance on imported luxury items such as silk, olive oil, Um, what's that now? Oh, okay. Yeah, don't distract her now. Patrick's relying on her for her nonsense. Yeah, yeah, don't distract her there. Okay, I think we've talked already about Mesopotamians' religion. Um, some of the things to know about it, they were polytheistic. Um, Now, with them being polytheistic, um, no one God reigned supreme. There wasn't one God that was, Zeus or the overall God of all gods. Uh, there was a lot of them. So, you have a lot of people that would pray to the different gods depending on their different needs. It's also during this time period that we see that cultic spells coming about, where a priest would have elaborate uh, religious rituals at different times of the year in order to satisfy the gods. You have, and they call it the arts of divinication, spelled Divination. Does anybody know what that is? Arts of divinication. Well, it sounds like divine. It's the ritual killing of animals, and and then studying their entrails and saying, okay, uh, they do it in Rome. So this is where you start seeing it. But uh, this is all, and you can also see this within later on as Christian, or not just Christianity, um, as Judaism starts, especially in the Old Testament, you can see ritual sacrifice of animals, and it was often seen as you had to have wealth in order to, ritually sacrifice an animal. Say that again. Yeah, the Aztecs, they like to just kill people. Yeah, Aztecs, the Mayans. Okay, uh, about at 9 that we're on. I'm not sure on the. It's around 9 or 13. Say that again. Okay, let me look here real fast. Oh, that is actually on page 13. Vindication is on. Okay, I've got a request to go a little bit slower. Oh my gosh, Shelby, you're killing me. But these guys want to go home. They don't want to stay in Cranford because they are my top students over there. You want to have started school early? Well, guess what? The other people are going to have to listen to this online. So yeah, and I apologize that you guys have to do this, but all right. Let's see. So we talked about our art of divinication, praying to the gods, cultic spells, and certainly when you're thinking of this, think of it in terms of these are ways that they're trying to understand their world. They're trying to figure out what's going on, and certainly having a pessimistic view. They've got a woe is me. We best not anger the gods, because if we anger the gods, they're going to get ticked off. and do something very terrible to us. All right. Sumerian writing is known as cuneiform. Okay, cuneiform. 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 It's cuneiform. What's that? Remember that? Hey, we did cover this last year. Very good. Cuneiform, rough translation, is wedge-shaped writing, and the way the Sumerians did this was using clay tablets. Would take a reed from the river, carve basically a triangle out of its stem, and then be able to press it while the mud was still the clay tablet was still damp, and lay it out in the um, sun. It would bake, and you could have permanent records and keep things from year to year. Now, I'm sure, as we're all sitting here in school, some of us are complaining, wishing that writing had never been invented, that we didn't have to learn about this stuff. But writing really comes out as a need to remember things from year to year. I think we've all had family stories that you might have heard, but if they're not written down somewhere, those stories are going to get lost. And imagine what stories, even with our own families, that have gotten lost over the generations because things were not written down. And one of the things that we see with Sumerian writing, cuneiform is what it develops at when we take it a step back further. Writing was actually more pictographs that they used uh, picture symbols to define things. But could you imagine constantly writing in symbols or in pictures in order to tell a story? You couldn't draw, yeah. Uh, yeah, it wouldn't work for me either. I make stick people look bad, so certainly having a writing system based on pictures wouldn't work for me. And when we look at the symbols of writing, and if we compare it today, we all understand what the symbols mean. Uh, you could see different symbols and understand, exactly their meaning, and we can all pick up the same book, turn to the same page, and read along and read and understand what's written there. And that's what makes writing incredibly important as one of those technological advances that help our society. Okay, now one thing of writing that we see that has survived uh, from this early time period. We have it's called the Epic of Gilgamesh, and it's really a story. And I think in your book, I think it's got parts of the story of the Epic of Gilgamesh. I think it's on page 13. Yeah, you can find parts of it on page 13. But as you kind of read through that, uh, kind of the general gist that you're getting from that brief reading or brief excerpt on page 13 that says the rampant flood which no man can oppose shakes the heaven and causes earth to tremble is falling blanket folds mother and child beats down the cane breaks full and kind of goes on. So you're getting that that sense that life is difficulty, or you get the sense know that the Epic of Gilgamesh is presenting a life where life is difficult. Uh, the people did not have easy life, and certainly they were not immortal. immortality would have been reserved for the gods, and their life is going to be full of pain and probably short, which is always, say that again, Andrew. Yes, it did. It would have been one of those things that, you know, just knowing the misery aspect probably was not highly desirable during that time period. But if you didn't know any different, that was just your life. That you knew that you might as well enjoy life while you've got it because it may not be there. Now, next one says the Code of Hammurabi. Has anybody heard of the Code of Hammurabi? That is the eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. Yes, Dakota just memorized one. He just, if you build a house for somebody and so if you're a carpenter and you build a house and it crashes in and kills the owner's child, the owner gets to kill the carpenter's child. So, uh, uh, yeah. So, Nick, make sure that your dad builds strong houses because, uh, oh, he does have an older brother. I'm. Yeah, it depends on how the house collapses. So, but you can find parts of the Code of Hammurabi on page 11 of your textbook. I believe there's 282 different laws within the Code of Hammurabi. And the thing I've always found kind of fascinating is when you read through them, is is knowing that some of those or all of those things had happened at some point in time where somebody got upset and said, hey, there needs to be a law about different things. I mean, you can read things from adultery to a variety of what should happen if your slave misbehaves or things of that nature. Certainly the eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth aspect. The other thing about the Code of Hammurabi is that um, the rule of law is not equal. Certainly, in some of them, if you are of a higher status, you get less punishment than if you are a lower individual in society. If you're a lower individual in society, your punishment is a lot worse. So if you're a low person in society and an upperclassman did something to you, their punishment could be pretty light compared to if you did it to them. Yours could, and a lot of times, resulted in death. And so, under the Code of Hammurabi, we tend to see that being more severe for the lower class. Uh, you know, we tend to see it stressing that retribution, that there's going to be some sort of retaliation for doing things uh, uh, within their society. Now, this is not the earliest form of law out there, but this is one that has survived, and we've got a fairly good record of it. And we can see that as time went on, that different parts they've had to add to stuff. But this pillar would have, and you can see a picture of the pillar on page 10 of your book. And it's hard to see, but all those little marks down below it are the laws that are written on there. And this would have been out in the public, so people that could read it could go up there. And, certainly if you had an argument that you're trying to settle, you could go to this and see what was supposed to be rightfully done according to their laws. Okay, women in Mesopotamian society. We kind of talked about yesterday how they early anthropologists had believed that division of labor and men were a little bit more equal in prehistoric times. That is really not the case that we see in Mesopotamian civilization. We do see women's role as being in the home and being subservient to her husband. Now, obviously, a modern woman today would not fare too well in ancient Mesopotamia. I probably wouldn't fare too well back there either, but certainly the rights that women have today were not rights that they had back then. Taking care of the household would have been their primary job. What's that? Let's see. Got one more, and then we'll probably stop for today here. Mesopotamian mathematics. Um, do they have clay rocks? Yeah. Well, some of the clay is in the rocks. That was a part of um, their counting system in order to when they ship things from one area to next. When they broke open, they can see what should be there. Things to know about mathematics. They did have a. That's part of their. They had a complex financial calculations that they could uh, keep track of trade, complex financial calculations. Did you get that down? Uh, I said my notes say around 16, but I don't know if that's it's not that far because that's into Egypt. Then I've got old notes here. Um, oh, maybe I'm not going far enough. It's on 15. Okay. Yeah, which edition do you have? On the fifth edition, I know it's on page 16. You have the seventh? Okay. Oh, well, yeah, he's got the teacher's edition. Too bad it doesn't have any of the answers in it, but yeah, it doesn't have anything. Probably Friday. Yeah, I don't know. If not, it might be on Monday. I could probably push it back to Monday. Okay. Well, we'll see how much further we get. Certainly, we'll have to stop, go just a little bit slower tomorrow to get other people from the shock that they've got to listen to some of these fabulous YouTube videos. Okay, they're high-speed kids. Okay, the other thing to know about their mathematic system is that they had a number system based on 60. So when you do kind of look at their society, you know, you can see that they're um, besides having a tremendously pessimistic view of the world, uh, they live full lives. You know, they're going to um, have joys and concerns just like anybody else, but probably a little bit more on the pessimistic. They're going to rely on having trade. They're going to have a society where they're going to have that desires of wants and needs. And eventually, as time goes on, we're going to see that grow even more. All right, next part gets us into Egypt, and I'm going to probably stop there so that we can keep all of Egypt together. This looks like a good stopping point for today. Well, it's about the same time, except a little bit more. Do you guys have any questions over there? Patrick, Andrew, Royce? Yes, we do. All right, we're going to stop here for today and catch you guys all tomorrow.